Also carrier pigeons.
Carrier pigeons.
Yes.
We don't have them anymore?
No.
No, we don't. We have
regular pigeons?
We have regular pigeons, but we don't have carrier pigeons.
Well, we have like email now.
Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to What's on the Fourth Floor. I'm your host, Ethan Goobles today. I'm here with my co-hosts,
Carter Walford.
And Claire Weekly.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good this evening.
That's pretty good.
Me too.
It's always good when we start the show and everybody's in a good mood.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. I was thinking, what? Don't look at me like that. I was thinking earlier today, like, this is the first time that we've done a show, like, in late evening, and I was worried about like my energy levels coming into the show today. So I'm doing pretty good though. Hey, so let's get started then. First segment today is What's With That? Segment where we get to talk about we just get to talk about things that we've been pondering, because we just ponder lots of things. I don't have a What's With That, but I think Claire does.
Yes, I do. It's more of a did you know? So, did you guys know they make pumpkin spice ravioli now?
Pumpkin spice ravioli.
Yeah.
I didn't know that specifically, but I'm not at all surprised.
And how do you feel about that?
I don't know. Ravioli, you're just like replacing oregano with pumpkin spice, which is like, it's not too much of a stretch. I feel like there are worse things that have been pumpkin spicified.
Like what?
Like what?
Oh, I mean, I know that there are lots of pumpkin spice flavored things, but I'm not too familiar with them. I'm not a huge fan of pumpkin spice, actually.
Me either.
It's
just weird.
Like,
I don't know why.
Pumpkin spice is like, I don't know, coffee flavoring maybe.
Yeah, I feel
on
like
certain occasions.
It has to be in something hot, and I have seen things where it's in something cold, and it upsets me.
So, iced coffee.
Wait, is there pumpkin
spiced iced coffee is an outlier. It is allowed to exist.
Oh, but you still like that. Yeah. You're a big coffee guy, aren't you?
I'm a big I don't do pumpkin spice. I don't do any like fancy stuff. I just make
like
my coffee in my Keurig.
Just a black coffee.
Just a black with a dash of hazelnut creamer. I'm very partial to hazelnut.
But. Interesting.
Okay.
If I do creamer, it's got to be like French vanilla, like the plainest of plain creamers. I also don't really like. Okay, well, no, that's a lie. I used to not like black coffee. It's coffee is one of those things that's an acquired taste anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to not like black coffee, and then a couple of all-nighters will kind of change that mentality. You just got to have caffeine one way or another.
I got into coffee probably my senior year of high school, and I did it on purpose because I was like, this is going to be a useful substance at some point in my life, so I'm going to get into it now.
You're not wrong, unfortunately.
And so I forced myself to drink awful straight black coffee, like concession stand dollar coffee. Over and over.
The styrofoam cup stuff. Yeah.
Until I was like Stockholm syndromed into loving it.
Oh my gosh.
And
it has served me well.
Mm-hmm.
I was not like that. I started off drinking coffee as more of an experience, because it's like that nice, easy Sunday morning. You want to sit outside, enjoy the weather, maybe read a book or something.
There's tea.
There is tea, true, but I started off by putting a bunch of sugar in my coffee, like a bunch of creamer and put honey and a bunch of other flavorings.
I think
it basically was like.
Could you make it a solid?
Wait, what?
If you put enough sugar in your coffee, will it coagulate?
Well, it's like if I just put a drop of coffee in a jar of sugar. Yeah.
Essentially, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like taint a jar of sugar brown with some coffee?
I don't think he had to like chew his coffee when he was first starting.
Yeah, it was definitely not like it. But it was like when I finished the cup of coffee, there was a bunch of stuff still at the bottom. Just all the flavoring that. But I eventually worked my way out of that. And now I didn't have a coffee machine in my room last year, but I do this year.
Is it a Keurig or a pot?
No, it's a pot. coffee?
I have both. I will make a cup in my Keurig while I'm waiting for the pot to be made because I'm impatient.
That sounds like a very quick downhill slide.
You know,
You have both of them in your. You have two coffee makers.
two
Wait,
different
wait.
kinds of coffee makers.
Did you have two last year as well?
Yes. It's because I sort of, your distant relatives don't really get you that much, but they still have to buy you something for Christmas. And the one thing that they knew about me was, oh, he's the guy who likes coffee. So,
But you didn't like coffee until your
everyone
senior
bought me.
year.
Yeah, but it was like last year. It was
Okay.
Christmas of, I guess, first year of
2016 would have been
2016.
last year.
Yeah, and so it was like everyone knows that I like coffee, so I got two coffee makers for Christmas.
You became that guy
Yeah,
in
I'm
your
that
family.
guy. Exactly.
See, my family loves coffee, and we have Keurig machines, whatnot. Just a typical family. But I had to get used to it. I had to get used to the coffee flavoring. Actually, this kind of you had a what's with that was Carter. You had a what's with that was related to this subject, essentially.
Okay, well, I use my two coffee machines every day I will make a pot of coffee at midnight every night.
Midnight.
And that is
My
because
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
You make the pot of coffee as black as the sky is at that time.
That is because I have a dedicated work schedule to do, homework, chores. If I don't have any of those, I'll like read nonfiction, things I don't want to do normally. And I will do
You
them.
don't like reading nonfiction
Well, I
normally?
mean, as opposed to if I could do anything, if you just set
Okay.
me down as like, this is
That's
free
fair.
time, I will be more likely to go, watch dumb videos on the internet than read nonfiction. So
Okay.
things I don't sort of drift towards in my
Mhm.
normal free time, I'll do from midnight to 5 a.m. every night. And
Even on like
Weekends?
weeknights.
Even on weekends.
Weekends,
Yeah.
weeknights.
every day.
Oh.
And it is because I'm keeping a normal sleep schedule of two distinct chunks of 4 hours. And I'll sleep from 5 to 9 at night, and then from 3 to 7 p.m. 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., 3 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
All right. So so your classes aren't until like the middle of the day then.
Yeah, all of my classes are in the middle of the day, and I believe that this is just an objectively superior way to live your life.
Okay, sure.
And I will spread the message
What?
Mhm.
of
That's-
the disjunct sleep schedule. I'm not joking. When I sleep normal hours, because I do that, I get off of this.
By normal hours, you mean
That's
like
I don't know, midnight to 8.
Sure.
normal
Okay,
sleep.
gotcha.
Sure.
like when you normally are
When
working.
you're expected to
Mhm.
sleep.
Yeah, when you're expected to
When I sleep the time normal people sleep, I am a worthless person all day. I will not get any work done. When I go to this disjunct sleep schedule, my productivity increases tenfold. This is not a joke at all. I
No
get so
kidding.
much more done.
Mhm. Yeah, I know what you mean. So when I have something I really need to study for, I switch my sleep schedule so I wake up at around midnight and then stay up until like 9 a.m. and then I don't have any classes from in the middle of the day for a few hours, so then I can sleep then and then go to my last class and then go home after that.
Mhm.
Because I found that if there isn't anyone else awake when I'm studying, I am that much less tempted for any type of distraction.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's uh, a draw in it, that no one else is awake. I'm not
Mhm.
supposed to be up right now, so
I
I can't.
usually just use the door method.
What's the door
Close
method?
the door.
As long as the people are on the other side of the door, they don't distract me.
But there's more things as well. And I'll go
Yeah.
into when I get home from classes, on a normal sleep cycle, normal for normal people, the best thing what I probably should do, the best thing for me to do is when I get home from classes is to start my homework. That's like what I probably should do.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not
Mhm.
going to do this.
What? Because you think
Yeah,
that this is the
because-
Pretty
superior,
much.
Yeah.
and it works so well for you.
What I want to do when I get home from classes is take a nap. And so I've just shifted things around to where this is now what I'm encouraged to do, what I'm supposed to do when I get home from classes.
Well, okay, but your
Just take a
nap
nap.
turns into that 4 hour long.
It's a 4-hour nap. Yeah, it's a.
Do you normally?
Nap is in quotes.
Do you normally? Yeah, quotes. Do your naps have they always been 4 hour naps?
No, but it is okay. I shouldn't say take a nap then. It's go to sleep. I
It's
want
go
to
to
go to
sleep.
sleep when I get home
Because
from
you're in the
classes.
schedule.
I
already.
want to go to sleep. Yeah, like 2:30, 3 o'clock. You're tired during the day. And so I've
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
devised a system in which when you're tired, you just go to sleep.
Okay.
And
Oh, but so here's how I get around that.
mhm,
First of all, coffee does help. Well, okay, actually, it doesn't help me because for some reason the
Mhm.
caffeine in coffee doesn't really like react with me very. Actually, I don't think caffeine really reacts with me that much anyway. But I think it's more of a mental thing.
mhm.
When I do have coffee, it does help me.
A definite placebo there. You're
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I feel like I should be more productive, so
I
I am.
use like 10 to 30-minute power naps as my recharges during the
Mhm.
day. I could go like I could have like 4 of these during the day. Just any time between classes, if I can run back to my room and take a nap or anywhere else. I can
Mhm.
also sleep just about anywhere too with the lights on or off. But like
Yeah, I
that's how I've
can't.
developed my energy recharge system during the day. So that
Mhm.
way I can, but I also go to sleep. Mm, depends on somewhere between 10:30 and 12. If it's past 12, then it's way too late for me.
Hmm.
So it sounds like you sleep like 10 hours a day.
No, not really. Because like, no, okay. I get up
Hmm,
between
gonna do the
7 and 8.
math.
I get
Okay.
up between 7 and 8.
Which is,
Okay.
I have also settled into this instead of what you're explaining, because of everyone was like, you have to get your REM
Sleep
cycles in.
schedule
Yeah,
on
you have to get your
track.
REM cycles in, which are like 4 hours long, which is what we learned in psychology.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
And
yeah.
so I was like, okay, naturally, I'll break it up into 2 4 hours so you get your full REM cycle. I think this is maximum healthiness in sleep. This is just as healthy as
Right.
sleeping for 8 hours straight, which sleeping like 6 hours at night and then a couple of naps in there is
See,
less so.
I've also heard that, oh, what is it? At like 60 minutes of sleep, you're like right in the middle of a or you're right in the middle of a cycle.
Hmm.
So, if you're gonna take a nap, it should be either like a half an hour,
Hmm.
so 30 minutes, or 90 minutes.
Yeah, if I take
It shouldn't be in between that, which is why I don't usually go
Mhm.
take power like naps over half an hour, which means that they can like fit into my schedule during the day really well.
if I am like slightly tired and I go to sleep for 30 minutes, I will wake up feeling much more tired than when I went to
Yeah,
sleep.
that's very true. A lot of the time, last semester, I had a couple classes, and then I was like, oh, let's just sleep for 30 minutes before I go to my next class because I haven't slept in a while. And then I woke up and was like, why did I do that?
I think it's because you haven't slept in a while.
Yeah,
What do you
that's
mean
true.
haven't slept in a while?
Anywhere from 1 to about 2.5 days. Don't do that.
That
That's just
is
a
some
bad
superhuman
idea.
stuff right there. Holy crap. I
Okay.
thought Carter was ridiculous.
No, okay. Well,
Well, I would do that before I got on this schedule, which is now it's like I have 5 dedicated hours every single day to do things. So I'm never
and
behind.
then
Jeez. Well, what was your sleep schedule like when you were at home, in high school?
When I was at home in high school, I'd sleep like a normal person,
You sleep like it. So
I
you
didn't.
didn't get onto the schedule until you
until I
came
came to
here.
college. And this was partially because of my first roommate, Joe, who would stay up till 3 a.m. Um, on his computer every
We're gonna
single
throw
night.
that out there, Joe.
Yeah,
If
Joe.
Joe, if you're listening,
I'm not gonna say his last name. I don't want to out him that much. But he would
Aw.
be. Um, most people would think he's an awful roommate, but I'm a really chill guy. I don't care that much.
Sure.
But he'd be up till 3 4 a.m. every single night.
That's the ideal time to wake up,
And
honestly.
this is in a like one room, so I am
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
10
Yeah,
feet away from him
you lived in Nyhart
in
last year, didn't
Nyhart.
you?
Yeah, I'm like 10 feet away from him, and he's not trying to be quiet until. So I just stayed up with him and did my homework.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I
And
could not
honestly,
get on that schedule for the life of me. I was like,
well, I have been on that schedule
you
before,
say
okay.
that.
and it's
Well,
less than
yeah.
ideal.
I think it's natural.
No.
Every,
Okay, so there were a couple at first semester last year. I would go a couple of weeks where like at least twice, sometimes 3 times a week, I'd be up to 4 in the morning,
Yeah.
in the middle of the week. But like it was consistently 2 a.m. when I was going to bed,
Mhm.
consistently.
Mhm.
But then I don't know. I suppose it was I came home and then I got back onto like a normal schedule. And then I came back to school and like I was gonna try to do it again, but there was no real point for it. I don't
Mhm.
know. I think it was more of a social thing. I stayed up like way late so I could like hang out with friends and whatnot
That's the
until
thing.
then.
You can do that now. You can stay up till like midnight, doing whatever with your friends
Right.
every single day, and it's not cutting into
Cutting
any
into
of your
work time.
It's not cutting into work time. It's not cutting into sleep time. That is, I've scheduled my free time to line up when people want to go do things that are free timey. I've scheduled my sleep time to be when I am tired, and I've scheduled my work time to be when I'm the most productive. And this is just what fell out of the
Yeah.
functions.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I have a couple quandaries about this though.
okay.
If I wake up, if I make a meal at like 8 p.m. or midnight, let's say, and it's slightly after I've woken up, is that breakfast or supper?
Definitely breakfast.
Right, because you slept in the evenings, you
Mhm.
get up, you make a meal.
I would say
What
I
is
say
it?
if it's morning, it's breakfast.
I would argue that I eat breakfast twice a day.
Oh,
Because I'm
because
defining breakfast as the meal you eat right after you wake up from sleeping.
Okay.
And sort of that goes with the name. You're breaking the fast.
Okay, so
yeah, I suppose
say you
so.
wake up at 3 p.m. and then eat food. Are you still eating breakfast?
I would that isn't what happens, but I would still call that breakfast.
Okay.
Well, what
If
What
you're on a
food do you
regular
eat,
if
you
you're on
know?
a regular sleep schedule
Mhm.
of waking up at 3 p.m. What
What
food
food?
do
Yeah,
I
what
is
kind
that
of
going to
food?
color your opinion? Does it
For
matter?
me, it does.
It
kind
does
of.
matter. Well, if you must know, I make breakfast burritos at like midnight every night.
Oh,
So
Oh.
sure. Call it
that goes
breakfast.
along with breakfast.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You have my permission, Carter.
Okay. Awesome. I'm glad. Another thing, it gets very confusing when I tell people when I'm going to do things or when I have already done things. If I did it at 5 a.m., did I do it last night or this morning?
Oh, okay. That goes back
Uh.
into like if you haven't gotten to bed yet, is it tomorrow yet?
Yeah.
I just say I did it earlier, because that requires the least amount of explaining
Yeah.
and is also true.
I will say both. I'll say last night / this morning, or I'll say I did it Tuesday night / Wednesday morning,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I'll say in a conversation.
You're very technical
and
about it.
I'll get a kind of funny look, but then I'll be like, okay, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You do get what I'm saying.
I don't know. I've never put myself into that situation. I don't think I would call that if you were doing stuff from 12 to 5, you said
12 to 5
in the morning.
Mhm.
That's when you were active. Okay, see, I wouldn't define well that period of activity that you're from 12 to 5.
Mhm.
I wouldn't define that technically as morning because I'm more of a morning is after I wake up.
But I had just waken up because I
Mm-hmm.
sleep
True.
from like 3 to 7. You could call it like late afternoon or
Late
sort of
morning.
late
I mean, it would be late
morning-ish.
morning technically, but
You
then
could
you go to
call-
sleep again. So essentially, you've found a way to like have like 3 days in a 24-hour period.
Exactly, which
Nice.
is why I'm so.
Why
much
you think
more
it's
productive.
superior?
And one of these days is like all
The-
work.
The productivity day.
Yeah,
And the other two, you just go to classes.
I'll go to. Well, I think
Mm.
one day is classes and doing. No, you're right. Okay.
As
one
the other
day I
two,
could
you just go to classes. Yeah.
So it does get really confusing. First of all, whenever I always wake up in the dark.
Uh-huh.
And it gets a little confusing as to what day it currently is. But, these are sacrifices we must make for productivity.
You get over it.
I get
You
over it.
Your brain adjusts.
Mm-hmm.
One unexpected upside of having a watch is when my sleep schedule either does what yours is doing or just like whenever we have a break, sometimes I go around the clock a couple of times.
Okay.
There's a date on my watch, and that is
nice.
incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I do have to check the date.
When you wake up at 2 a.m. and then you're like, oh, it's 2 a.m., not 2 p.m., and...
I'm even to the point where I will wake up on my own. Like when I first started, I had to set alarms. I don't have to do that anymore. I will wake up after 4 hours on my own.
Oh, nice.
So
that's good for you.
So like if you went to sleep at 5 in the morning, you wouldn't then wake up at 9 on your own, probably.
At 9?
Well,
probably,
let's say if you went to
actually.
sleep at 3 p.m., you wouldn't wake up at 7 p.m.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Because that is very strange.
Yeah.
But I can just do that now.
If I went to sleep at 3 p.m.,
I would sleep until
like
probably
4.
1 a.m. and then
No,
I'd
I
wake
wouldn't.
up and be like, "What's
I would
going
naturally wake
on?"
up at like 1
Mhm.
or 1 hour later. Sorry, not at
Mhm.
1.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and then I would just go about the rest of my day because I have a couple more hours left in my day, and then I go back to sleep. But
My
that's just me.
junior year of high school, I got into the habit of going to sleep at 3 a.m. or not 3 a.m., 3 p.m. and waking up at 1 a.m. and then doing like 5 to 7 hours of homework and then
Mhm.
going to class.
So
Yeah,
the normal day-night cycle
of a
for
physics student.
for a physics student is very different from the outside world. But that's because we are optimizing. It is the most efficient to be on these wacky schedules. Ethan's looking at me skeptically though.
Well, I disagree,
You
but
disagree?
let's leave that. Let's leave that for the
Yeah.
listeners.
Maybe the listeners
You guys,
will
yeah, you guys
adjust their
tell
sleep
us.
cycles.
You guys tell us if Carter's a genius or
Yeah, that's well. Going into this, I was like, I'm either going to be touted as a genius or a madman. But
a madman. Yes.
Why not both?
why not both?
On that note, let's move on to our next segment. Our next segment is in the news. This is where we can talk about some headlines in science, some general science news. Claire, you also have in the news. You have a news article today, don't you?
Yes, I do. Okay, so you know how smartphone screens are always breaking?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah, of course.
Okay. Great response, thank you. Physicists at the University of Sussex are working on making smartphone screens less brittle. So basically, what they're doing is the current substance is based in indium, which is a rare element. It's difficult to mine, difficult to put into things, and it's brittle and expensive. But because we discovered the new substance graphene, we're able to incorporate that with silver nanowires to make it both cheaper and less brittle.
Okay, hold on. I'm not a chemistry expert here. So wait, what is the element that is in it now, you said?
Indium,
And that's super rare and expensive. Is that what makes my iPhone really expensive?
Well, that and price scaling to
Yeah.
make money.
And because it's
but-
Apple, right? It's
Yeah.
got an apple on the back
it's
of it.
an indium base called indium tin oxide, but the indium part is
Gotcha.
the thing that's
Right.
expensive.
But they're using graphene
Yes,
now.
If I'm correct, graphene is a single layer of carbon atoms.
that's correct.
How do
Awesome.
they? Okay,
You can make your own graphene by scribbling with
Yes.
pencil on a bit of scotch tape.
that's right.
And then if you sort of fold the scotch tape sticky side onto sticky side
Mhm.
and then peel it back, it'll split your pencil marks, lead,
Mhm.
into, and eventually if you keep splitting it, you'll get to a single atom thick layer of carbon, which is what we call graphene.
Yes. So, this
So-
graphene, do they just?
They're
I don't know
com-
how they put this into the
I can
they're
see.
screen.
stamping graphene onto the silver nanotubes.
And carbon lattices
Silver
are notoriously
nanotubes.
strong, so I can see how this would keep it from cracking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, that's right. That's right. But
So a few weeks ago, we had a colloquium featuring a professor from the University of Toronto, and
Oh, that's right.
So he actually. These are physics colloquiums, by the way. And he actually got his bachelor's degree in some type of biology, I believe.
oh yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
I went to this one, so we
Yeah.
talked to him afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
What he did, yeah, he had some sort of it was biochemistry or something
Yeah,
like that.
Mm-hmm, biochemistry. And so then he ended up doing research with things on the atomic scale
Mhm.
in physics, but he actually got his bachelor's in definitely not physics.
Mm-hmm.
So any of you biochem majors out there, there's still hope for you. That's basically what you have to take
You
out
can
of
join
this.
the fold.
Yeah.
Speaking of colloquium, this is a little bit of a retrograde to our last conversation. The colloquiums are at like 4 p.m.,
Mm-hmm.
which is to me.
Oh, that's right.
Which is to
yeah.
me, in massive
Bedtime.
air quotes, in the middle of the night. And so when I do want to go to a colloquium, it is a big burden because I have to. It's as if you're getting up at 2 in the morning to go to a colloquium.
Wow. Do you stay
Honestly-
awake through these things?
Through the colloquium, yeah, I do, surprisingly. But I skip the after.
And you go straight to
talk.
bed?
Yeah. I won't stay for the meet with the speaker.
Okay, so another colloquium that I went to in recent weeks was
Well, maybe we should just real quick
materials.
colloquium. Like, okay, so the physics department brings in guest lecturers.
Yes.
Basically what it is.
It's a professor or researcher from somewhere
From
in the country or in the
somewhere
world
country, yeah.
to come talk about.
They might be collaborating with a professor at the department, and so then they're kind of the professor at the department here at UNL is the host of the guest lecturer, and
Yeah,
so
and then-
us as physics students are always invited to it. Actually, anybody's invited to
Yeah.
it. So if you're interested in that,
So at
we can
4
put some stuff,
p.m. in
information on the website.
Jorgensen on Thursdays. Usually they're on
Right.
Thursdays. They come in, they give about an hour-long presentation, and then afterwards we get to ask them whatever questions we want, which can be like, what's this bandwidth mean? Or it could be like, did you know Nebraska has a tractor testing facility?
That's right.
That's in the. Is our
Kastner?
non-SPS
Over at
students?
Kastner.
Can non-SPS students come to the meet to the speaker?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, but you
Well,
can join SBS.
We certainly
Yeah.
wouldn't kick you out. If
I
you
don't
did
think we would
come.
kick you out. No.
And you don't have to be a physics major to join SPS.
Yeah, you don't have to be a physics major to join SBS. So just say you're a physics, or just say you're in Society of Physics Students.
The colloquia are exciting because they're always like kind of new physicsy. They're
Yeah,
what people
they're
are doing right now.
cutting-edge
Yeah.
research.
Cutting edge research, which is
And
loads of fun.
the one I was going to bring up, this professor has been doing materials research with graphene in recent years. And so she was talking about being able to create better circuitry for computers so they use much less power than they do now. So even when computers are on with the technology we have now, they're still using electricity. But because of the materials research that she's doing, they're working on a way so that that doesn't happen.
Wait, so when they're not on, they still use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a small amount of
Right.
electricity that is used
Okay.
in.
And that's to keep the volatile memory there, right? I
Yeah.
think I'm not super
Yeah.
well informed on computer mechanics, and
Me too, but I think you're right. Something along those lines.
there's some memory saved on the computer
Mhm.
that will get erased if you don't keep feeding it electricity.
Right.
So even when some things are off, they're still consuming power.
Mhm.
So she's trying to use graphene for this
Yes.
to
And
eliminate that power usage.
Yeah. And other
Interesting.
nanotechnology. So that has more to do with how electrons get from the power source to the computer, the gate, so to speak.
Mhm.
So basically,
Okay.
it's making it harder for, well, actually impossible for electrons to get through the gate when it's off.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Just like shutting off a leak,
Yeah.
essentially.
That's a nice analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
So we can probably use graphene for this. That's actually really interesting.
Graphene is coming up all over the place. in
Yeah,
all kinds of
graphene
graphene is
yeah.
actually a really new material.
It's a wonderful material.
Honestly,
Mhm.
carbon is a wonderful element.
Yeah.
I mean, how could it not be your favorite element?
There's
Sure.
graphene,
Carries the
there's
human race, carbon.
buckyballs.
Yeah, we're completely
Carbon-based.
based on
Mhm.
it, which kind of brings up the question.
Can there be non-carbon based life forms?
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's another conversation for another
definitely
day.
another conversation for another day.
That could be definitely a what's with that segment.
Yes.
But I'm not very knowledgeable on that subject. I'd probably have to look up some more
Bring in
information.
a bio
Definitely.
major, something like that.
Well, I have a new segment.
Will there someday
What?
be alien biology majors? If we make contact with alien races,
Of
then
course.
you
Yes.
can
Of course.
major in the biology of an alien race.
Okay, so are we
Well, because
talking
then-
about a sentient alien race or
Yes,
any
and
If it
no.
alien?
has biology,
Either way.
I suppose.
Well, I mean, don't we already have exobiologists?
Yeah, but if it's like a completely different, if there are say silicon-based life forms, you'll have your all or why even like silicon-based life forms that use methane instead of water.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You will have completely different rules of biology and
Mhm.
systems in place.
Oh, on that note, so the reason that, okay, so we have a spacecraft that was named Cassini, and it recently crashed into Saturn. And the reason they crashed into Saturn was because there's a moon on Saturn that has liquid methane.
Oceans, yeah, oceans of methane.
Yeah, and
Wait,
so
methene or methane?
methane. Ooh,
I'm
Is there a
not.
difference? I'm
Yes,
not a
it's an
chem guy.
organic
there
chemistry thing. It's the
is.
number of
It's I'm
carbons. I
I'm
think
not an expert
meth.
in chemistry, but I think I remember it being liquid methane.
Okay,
Okay.
I think the difference is methane is 3 carbon chains and methane is 2, but I didn't take organic chemistry, so
And
don't
I
quote
will
Anyway,
me on
not.
that.
So,
so when we're typically looking for extraterrestrial life, we look at what's called the habitable zone, or the zone that liquid water can exist.
right.
But then, when we were sending spacecraft out to Saturn, we noticed that the moons of Saturn are in this range that liquid methane is possible. And we hadn't really been considering that too much before in our search for other life forms, but
Right.
as long as as long as liquids can exist.
hmm So we're sort of broadening our search to not just liquid water for
Hmm.
being. It used to be that if
Well,
you found liquid water, you are also looking for alien life. But
no, I
now it's like
mean,
if you find
Well,
liquids of a
technically,
certain class.
technically, yeah, sure. We've since broadened our idea of what,
it's just that the habitable zone or the liquid zone for methane is so much smaller than the liquid zone
but
for water.
but the thing is, what we've also found though is if you want to talk about gas giants, we found that Jupiter's moon,
Hmm.
Europa, has
Oh
liquid
yeah.
water oceans beneath the surface.
Beneath the ice.
Hmm.
And so you might ask, well, okay, the Earth is the only planet in our star's, solar system that lies within the quote unquote habitable zone. So how can liquid water exist beyond that? Well, it turns out that the tidal forces that like affect, our moon and the Earth are much stronger between the moons of Jupiter and Jupiter. So yeah, so
Hmm.
when you have that strong of forces, you're able to, you know, pump. You're able to like squeeze the moons, the Europa back and forth, and it kind of pumps energy into it, and it's
Yeah.
able to pump enough energy into it to make water liquid at that distance from the sun. So we do still, when we see liquid water somewhere, we do still think there could be life.
Yeah.
That's kind of
The
an
first
immediate thing
response
because it's the only life we
we
Yeah.
relate
know
to.
of.
Admittedly, we have a very small sample size
Right,
of
Yes.
exactly.
life
But I
forms.
do like the idea of there being a whole um, subject, biology, alien biology, or whatever you might
Mhm.
call it, exobiology.
Xenobiology,
There we
maybe.
go.
I'd
Yeah,
just like to clarify every time we've said we in the past 5 minutes, we meant NASA or similar
scientists. I
organizations.
suppose we just meant scientists in general,
Okay.
but
But not us personally.
not us personally. Nah, I was
Yet.
controlling Cassini and doing all that. Yeah.
I was on board.
Hmm.
Uh, well, if we want to, I've got real quick. I think we can talk about this real quick. I have a new segment as well.
Okay.
Um, you guys, I think you guys would be really interested in this. Have you guys heard of Google DeepMind?
Yes,
No.
it's the computer learning system, yeah. Like
Yeah, it's
organic
it's
algorithms.
Google's version of
Oh,
artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
that
Is what they're
thing.
working on.
It's
Okay.
like IBM's Watson almost.
Right.
You know the Jeopardy playing robot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Google, well, it's called DeepMind, but they've written a program for it. They wrote a program for it called AlphaGo. Have you guys heard of the game called Go?
The
Apparently, it's supposedly the hardest game ever created by humans. It's a board game.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yes.
Chinese board game or something.
Yeah, it's kind of
Hmm.
Or,
like
ooh, I might be
it's
getting
not
that
at all
wrong.
like chess, but
It
think of it
looks
on the
like a
order of chess.
chess
It's sort of that
board,
kind of a game, a very high intelligence
Except the number of moves at any given point in
in
in Go.
chess. Okay,
Well,
well
in
Hmm.
Go, yeah, in
in
compared
ch-
to chess,
in
in
chess
Go
at any
compared
one time you could make like 23
20.
different moves,
Yeah, we're
20
talking
different
like
moves. But in
I think it was
Go,
like hundreds of thousands, I want to say. It was some
Hmm.
incredible amount. So much that okay, no, sorry. 200 moves.
200.
But
But
it was so much that you can't look at the initial setup of a game board, and a computer can't um, algorithmically plan out all of the possible moves made in the game.
So the computer does have to sort of guess while it's playing.
Yes. So originally they developed the program AlphaGo for Google's DeepMind,
Really?
and what AlphaGo did was they programmed it to like know how a bunch of games are played.
Does DeepMind and AlphaGo work by watching experts play Go, and
That's
then
how their new one.
that's how DeepMind works?
Well, that's how so the new program that they've come up with is AlphaGo 0. And it began with no programming whatsoever. And it did exactly that. It like watched I believe it watched like YouTube or something like it watched like hundreds of thousands of human games and learned how to play each one of them to kind of get a feel for like human intuition and like how humans behave.
Another sort of plug for how complex Go is. I heard that even professional Go players, like experts, if they're looking at a game that they're not playing, they couldn't tell you who's winning.
Right.
Whereas in chess, if you look at a board and say, "Oh, I'm up 2 rooks and a knight on my opponent," I'm saying, "Oh, I'm obviously winning."
Right.
In Go, it's much harder to tell who's winning.
They've like interviewed like professional or like the best of the best Go players before and asked like, "Okay, why did you make that move?" And they're like, "Because it felt right."
It just
felt
like right.
There's no real. Whereas chess, it's more logical based, but you can also the human mind can only see a couple of moves ahead at any one.
Yeah, in chess you can think several moves ahead. In Go, you almost can't. There's so many possibilities you can't even guess at what your opponent is going to do.
So AlphaGo 0 recently beat the best player in the world.
At Go.
Yeah, I think the final count was 4-1. It beat him 4 games to 1. So that's pretty incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to be scared or not. You know, I'm not really super. I'm not scared
This is a
of.
good jumping point
I'm not scared of
for
AI, but
talking about the technological singularity, which is the theoretical point where machines become advanced enough that their intelligence increases faster than ours can.
right. I don't think we're there yet.
We're not there
but
yet, but we're getting closer.
I'm super excited about AI, just because I think it's more of an achievement of humans. I look at more of an achievement for humans to be proud of than necessarily as something to fear, like something like a road that we shouldn't venture down.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I've done quite a bit of independent research, as it were, on this topic, and for I guess a baseline, Elon Musk, who I tout as a pretty smart man, is diverting a sizable amount of his fortune into a sort of try to stop computers from taking over the world
How does one
foundation.
do that?
Yeah, see,
Like
the thing is,
Elon Musk is very worried about this problem.
the thing
I
is
feel like
about
Elon Musk is worried about quite a few problems, including that we're already in a simulation.
Yeah.
The thing about Elon Musk is though, like yeah, I think he's a smart guy. He's a physics major, by the way.
Ayo.
Ayo. Yeah. I think he's a smart guy, but he's also like super invested in a bunch of different AI technologies. Like I believe he is invested in Google's DeepMind.
Okay.
And I think Tesla also works on AI of their own. So like if he's super scared of this, or if he's legitimately concerned about this, why does he have money in it?
Well, he thinks it's something that should happen, but we need to be careful about it. It's sort of like Manhattan Project-esque.
Oh,
we need to avoid
gotcha.
nuclear holocaust, but nuclear research is still something that should happen because it still can be beneficial.
So
right, because AI can be so beneficial in many ways. Like the point of creating this program was not just to create a program that could learn how to play AlphaGo and then beat the best player in the world. They wanted to develop a program, a general program that could just learn, and from that it can be applied to like health.
Yeah, so maybe you can feed it
healthcare field and
10 million diagnoses from doctors, and now it's a diagnostician.
Exactly. And it can help in the research fields and whatnot. AI is definitely helpful.
It's growing.
Right. Which is why I'm excited about it. One day I may be working. Maybe I don't collaborate with any humans. I collaborate with 3 computers.
3 computers.
That'd be interesting.
But then, you know, you get
That
to the
would
point
be
where it's like,
interesting.
if you're less smart than all the computers, why are the computers collaborating with you? Why don't they just do the research on their own?
Touche.
Yeah.
I have to ask. So the best players in the world of AlphaGo now,
Right.
of the game Go, are now computers. If you're going to watch a professional Go match, do you want it to be a human versus a human or a computer versus a computer?
What are you doing that you're watching professional Go
Well,
matches?
you know,
Yeah.
if I was going to, hypothetically, I'll move it to
Would-
chess. Is it more exciting to watch a computer play a computer in chess or a human play a human?
Honestly, the
I don't
reason I
know.
like watching people play chess is because, like, if you look at their eyes, you can see them analyzing everything. Their eyes are just moving back and forth between all the pieces, and it's like you can see them thinking.
From the people
Which I-
watching standpoint,
You could
Uh-huh.
it's
literally watch
interesting.
a computer. You could have like a display of all the lines of code it's running while it's playing,
Yes, you
You
could.
could.
but it'd zoom by pretty fast.
You're right.
It'd be
Yeah,
hard to read.
exactly. Also, I don't know how quick a game of chess between 2 computers would actually last.
It could probably go really fast because they'd make decisions.
Right. They make
Mhm.
decisions.
Or maybe you
so
artificially
quickly.
slow it down for humans.
Artificially slow down a high-level game of chess between 2 super intelligent computers so humans can watch.
And watch.
Right.
That's sort of
That's an interesting concept.
That's getting sort of. I'm feeling down on humanity thinking about this. It's
Well, let's feel.
up on humanity
Let's-
with
yeah.
a lighter talking point.
Well, let's move on to our last segment. This segment, we gotta have a little bit of fun. It's trivia. I've got some trivia for us today.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
This is trivia fun facts edition, so this is just general stuff. But how it's gonna work? I'm gonna ask each of you individual questions, and then we'll award points based on my system, and then we'll tally them up at the end to see who won the day. Okay. All right. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Carter.
Yes.
Well, this sounds like an infomercial, but bear with me here. Want a new way to burn 150 calories an hour? Try doing what?
Well, we could do the calculations of how many stairs, like the work energy calculations of how many stairs I'd have to climb. But I don't think infomercials are, pandering toward people,
Towards
physicists.
physicists?
Yeah.
Probably not.
So I'm going to guess.
Well, the infomercial was more of my
Was this
my tone
This
of
isn't
voice.
literally from an infomercial.
No, this is just fun facts.
Something that people do that burns 150 calories an hour.
Well, something that you could do
That I
to burn
could do?
150 calories an hour if you were concerned about burning 150 calories an hour.
Race walk around in circles everywhere.
See, that probably.
Probably.
I can't say no
But
to
this
that.
isn't the specific action you're looking for.
You could probably burn more calories actually in that activity than the activity that I'm thinking of.
Well, I give up.
Okay.
Well, it's a little bit more ridiculous than that. Apparently, banging your head against the wall burns 150 calories an hour.
All right.
So we
Yeah.
are talking about a target audience of physics majors.
No, definitely.
Uh,
I think
There's
I
a
think
fair
if you
share
get-
of
if
banging
you
your
catch a
head against
physics
the
major
wall.
on a bad day, that could
Mhm.
definitely be an occurrence.
That's interesting. I wonder, do you burn calories by like mending injuries? Is it a weight loss technique to like hurt yourself?
I feel like
Hurt
this
yourself,
is-
and then as your body heals itself,
Yeah,
it's
just to
burning
like
calories.
use energy to get rid of a bruise or something.
I don't know. I that's a good question.
We
I
don't condone
mean,
self-harm
a
on what's
little
on the 4th
bit.
floor.
but not significantly enough that you would lose weight.
Right.
Usually the weight loss is for other reasons.
Well, I mean, the most significant source of weight loss is just existing.
yeah.
Doing exercise isn't all that helpful when you do. Because have you done the calculations?
According to
According to the math.
the math,
Yeah.
I've not done the
To
calculations.
burn, a joule or a calorie, big C calorie of energy, you have to climb like, 100 stairs or something like that.
Oh, big C calorie of energy, because there's a
Like-
physics way of describing calories.
There's
and then
a
there's the-
calorie and then what we consume the
medical
thing
way or
on
the-
the
Right.
Labels are called kilocalories,
Right.
technically.
I love how every single question is going to be a talking point. Let's go to the next question.
Next question.
Okay.
Next question.
Bang your head
Claire.
against the wall.
Yay.
Yeah. If you're out there concerned about burning calories, just try banging your head against the wall for
Or
an hour.
don't. We don't want to
Yeah,
get
don't.
sued.
We don't actually want you to do that. She's got a multiple choice. Holy
Yay.
crap.
Rigged.
Okay. The 29th of May is officially what day? A. Pet a cow day. B. Put a pillow on your fridge day. Or C. Jump rope day.
Jump rope day.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is wrong. You guys have to pick like something that sounds a little bit more
Ridiculous.
unintuitive.
So I should have said put a fridge on a
Non-intuitive.
pillow day.
It is put a
It
put
is
a pillow.
put a-
No. It's a put a pillow on a
Put a
fridge
pillow
day.
on a fridge day.
No.
On your fridge.
Okay, not just any fridge.
Not just any fridge. It has to
So
be
you
put a
can't
pillow
just
on your
go
fridge
around
day.
putting pillows on fridges. And...
What,
Absolutely not. No, that's against the law.
What,
Oh, on that note.
society or group has dubbed May 29th put a pillow on a fridge day?
That's the real question.
And why? I don't think these are the questions that we're
Things to
ready to
ponder.
ask,
I think you know what? We come up with so many more questions than we can like physically
Answer
answer
in this amount
in
of time.
a certain amount of time.
Well, that's
so maybe we
life.
should just leave it for the listeners to write in and inform us.
But on the note of holidays, recently it was Mole Day. That was on the 23rd.
MOL or MOLE?
MOL, like
Mole.
6
As in
Avogadro's
chemistry.
number day.
times 10 to the 23rd power.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Mole Day.
That's nice.
1023. That's a thing.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That does make
Well,
sense.
I forgot to tell you guys point totals. I mean, I couldn't
Did I get-
technically say no to you, Carter, but that wasn't the
Okay.
right answer.
But I get 0 points then. Instead of negative
sure
points.
0 instead of negative. And Claire, you definitely get negative.
Yeah, Claire
Negative
wins.
5. I'm not gonna
Okay.
give you a lot. Negative
Nice.
5.
I can live with that.
Carter. King Henry VIII slept with slept with a giant blank beside him.
Okay. King Henry VIII, if I'm remembering correctly, was the founded Church of England so that he could get divorces. I hope I'm right. My mother is a
No,
world
that's right.
history teacher, so if I
That's-
got that
that's-
wrong,
That's
I'd
how
have
I was taught.
I'd have been in big trouble. So he's
You're-
kind of a wacko. He's a strange guy.
He's a strange guy.
What does he sleep next to?
What did he?
What did he sleep next to?
I don't know
wanna
if your
s-
mom has taught you that, but he kind of died.
He did die. What does he sleep next to now? Dirt. What did he sleep next to when he was alive? I'm going to say a large stuffed carnivore. I'm going to say a bear, a stuffed bear.
Oh, that would be. I would respect him if he did that.
Mhm.
That'd be cool.
But that's
But
not
that's
the
not
answer.
That's
it.
not true.
He was a
Bummer.
little paranoid. He slept with a giant axe beside him. Yes.
Mm. I can see that.
Still a
Mhm.
wacko.
That's not as crazy as Ivan the Terrible who drank mercury, but
Oh,
you know,
yes.
on
A
the
lot of
scale of
people
weird
used to drink
things,
mercury.
on the scale of weird things to do, sleeping next to an axe is like middle tier. But it wasn't a bear, so I'm wrong.
Define next to, like hanging on the wall beside him.
Probably
or
on
in
his bed, right? Under his pillow.
Oh, I
feel
don't
like
know. Well, it says a giant axe, and it said beside him.
What is a giant
So-
axe?
More than 40 pounds.
Oh, okay.
That's
I'll-
what I think. a
Maybe it
giant
was
axe
maybe it
is.
was a warning to his wives because didn't he behead?
Yeah, he killed a lot of
Yeah.
wives, so I
Right.
can see how he'd be like,
Because
the
they
wives are
wouldn't
gonna,
give him male heirs.
they're gonna come for me,
Jokes on
Yeah.
him.
so I get a big axe.
Right.
That makes sense. He seems like a reasonable
Normal
guy.
people sleep with a baseball bat next to them, but
Do they?
you?
no, I don't.
I
I
can
don't
see-
at least.
I've heard like knife under a pillow. If you're like,
What?
a secret agent or something, you're like gonna get assassinated in your sleep.
Why
But-
would you put it on the pillow? Just tape it to the side of your mattress.
Well, we
not
don't
the
know
side
it.
that people will see.
You can't get it if it's taped to the mattress.
Yeah, you
it's hard to
can.
get off. Oh, you just rip it off?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Uh-huh.
I don't think they had tape in like, the
Probably not.
Okay,
feudal
then keep the knife under your pillow.
Europe.
Be that way. If you cut yourself, it's your fault.
Oh, we're
Let's-
talking about knife under the pillow.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because like you can
Because-
sleep with your hand on it. I don't know. I don't
You could,
personally
but-
keep a knife under my pillow, so I don't know why they do the things they do. But the
Well.
question is, do I get points or not? Or negative points?
No, that was definitely negative points.
Negative points?
You guys are
Alright.
tied, -5.
Negative
-5
five
to
apiece.
-5. All right, can Claire break the tie on this one? I mean, we still have plenty more questions, but can Claire break the tie? The
Well-
question is, what animal can an eagle successfully kill and fly away with?
Just name any animal that an eagle can fly away and kill.
I think I was thinking
The
more like the
biggest?
maximum size.
A cat.
What type of cat?
That's a good
Ooh.
question. Are you looking
You're totally
pound...
wrong, but I'm just
Oh,
interested
bummer.
to
Okay,
see
are
what
you
type
looking
of cat.
pound range or like the species?
The species.
Okay. I think definitely house cats, maybe a small panther. I don't know.
A small.
Well, you could say a small
Somewhere in the
anything, you
range
know.
from
A
house
pre-
cat to small panther.
If you put
A
small before it,
pre-adolescent
I
panther.
could say, you know, an eagle could carry off a small elephant if it's small enough. You know?
Well, I
Like
mean,
a tiny one.
True.
when they're born, elephants are what, 50 pounds?
I don't know.
Something like that.
You don't just know that off the
I
top
don't
of your
just
head?
know that.
What's the matter
Elephants
with you?
were my
Well, they have a
favorite animal when
gestation
I was
period
younger, but
for like 2 years.
2 years. I
Right.
did know that one off the top of my head. Don't worry about it.
Like,
also the mother
ow.
element, the mother elephant has a lot of weight to carry around the way it is. So I feel like babies
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be that heavy.
Yeah, it's that's why elephants don't get domesticated though. It's because
Well,
they're
I mean, if you think of
takes too
it
long
as
to
a
reproduce.
percentage, how much do elephants weigh? Somewhere a little bit under a ton, probably.
Probably.
under a ton. That wouldn't have been my guess. Get
Probably
on it,
around a
fact
ton, maybe.
We'll
checkers.
Google it.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
an eagle can successfully kill and fly away with a young deer. That's but a young deer we're talking
That
like
would be.
To be fair,
I'm now
think that
imagining like
some
Lord of the
types
Rings
of
eagles.
cats
They're
can
like
get bigger
massive.
than a young deer.
okay. All right. 2 points.
Bambi would
2
have
points
been
to Claire.
a much different
I'm at
movie.
-3.
Bambi.
Yeah, if
There had
if
been an
Bambi got
eagle
carried
in the
off by an
movie.
eagle.
Oh my god. Let's go to Carter. Carter.
I'm ready.
Pteranophobia. This is spelled with a silent P at the beginning, just if
Oh,
you're
good.
curious.
Pteronophobia.
Pteranophobia is the fear of what? A. Being eaten by an alligator. B. Jumping over a small crack in the cement. Or C. Being tickled by a feather. Pteranophobia.
Oh man, this is a guess. I
Yeah,
usually like
put
to
that thinking
explain
cap on.
my logic.
I know
You
B
can't
is
use
a
your
real
the,
thing.
the fun part
if
about these
that's
questions
helpful.
is Mr. Logic over here can't use his logic.
the only PT word I know off the top
You're
of my
in
head
Greek too.
is
You're studying Greek, aren't
yeah.
you?
I'm in Greek. I have an exam tomorrow. Oh boy.
PT is
Are
from
you
Greek,
gonna
isn't it?
say
PT
pterodactyl?
is
Like
it's
pterodactyl?
not an individual. Yeah, I'm
Or
going
is
to
it
say
not?
pterodactyl. Pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
PT isn't a Greek letter. You have like PS and stuff, but anyways. So pterodactyl leads me to flying things, which leads me to being tickled by a feather. So my guess is being tickled by a feather.
Incredible.
Oh, he did
Incredible. That is the right
it. What a
answer.
champ. How many points?
That was
being
10 points.
Actually correct? 10
That
points.
was 10 points.
You bet.
I was
What is
surprised.
the point to marble conversion ratio?
That's a
Oh.
good question.
It's probably give or take. Let's see.
13.7.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay.
13.7.
And-
No. It should be tau.
Oh,
If you guys, yeah,
Yeah.
I
it should
know.
be tau.
I know for a
Okay.
fact there's 3 marbles and a gold star.
Interesting. Well, so then one marble is tau points.
Okay, yeah. And so
Tau
3
being 2 times pi.
a star is
Yes.
3 tau points.
Yes.
Okay. So
I love
Okay.
this system. Okay.
got
The
it.
last question. Well, okay, so Claire is at
-2.
Oh,
-2.
wait, I'm
and
at 5 then.
You're at
Yes.
positive 5.
Nice. We're in
Claire,
the green.
nearly 3% of the ice in Antarctic glaciers is composed of what? I will say it again. Nearly 3% of the ice in Antarctic glaciers is composed of what?
Water.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. There's
Ice
water
is
in
composed of water.
Gee, how about that? Oh, I'm trying to think of it. What's the thing that Mars's polar ice caps are composed of?
Carbon dioxide?
There we go.
Then you could have
She's going to go with the science
solid
answer.
nitrogen, which is pink.
Let's
That's
go with
what the-
carbon dioxide.
She's going to go. You're locking it in?
Frozen carbon dioxide,
Yes.
also
Yeah.
known as dry ice.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a thing.
Also known as dry ice. Don't touch it with your hands.
It could be salt, though. That's entirely possible.
She's going with frozen carbon dioxide.
Yes.
Natural
Dry
dry
ice. That is incorrect.
Yeah.
That's not ridiculous enough. It's got to be ridiculous.
Okay.
What is 3% of Antarctic glaciers made of?
Dinosaur.
Penguin urine.
Penguin.
Okay.
Frozen penguin urine.
Lovely.
Okay. And
Okay.
that wouldn't be true for North Pole ice caps.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Antarctic. That should have been your first clue.
Mm-hmm.
No penguins in the North
It
Pole.
could be made of polar bear urine. I don't know what the chemistry difference is between.
I feel like there's a lot
penguin
more
urine and
penguins than polar bears.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the penguin to polar bear ratio? That's why penguins can exist, is because there's no polar bears around. Penguins are so dopey. They're like the dodo, but they're lucky because they're dodos in Antarctica.
Aw.
Oh, jeez. Well,
So you're saying we're driving them to extinction?
Penguins,
we?
well, we're
Yes.
driving
Polar
everything but
bears.
like house cats and dogs to extinction.
Kind of,
But-
though.
On less directly.
Well, you said the dodos of the Antarctic, so...
Dodos were driven extinct by humans, weren't they?
were they?
I
They were
think so.
hunted to extinction.
Yeah.
Because they were so dumb and they just kind of waddle around.
Yeah,
People
pretty
like-
much.
They're like
Food.
food. You just find it.
Right.
Mhm.
And it was right there, and it would practically walk
So-
to you.
No,
Also, carrier pigeons.
carrier pigeons.
Yes.
We don't have them anymore.
No.
No, we don't. We have.
We have regular pigeons.
We have regular pigeons, but we don't have carrier
well,
pigeons.
we have like email now.
Yeah,
That
I was gonna
serves the
say.
carrier pigeon
Are
purpose.
you worried?
There are certain
Claire, are you worried about
advantages
this?
of carrier pigeons.
There are.
They have been used in the First World War.
Oh yeah, they were. That's
Mhm.
right.
You can. There are
Right,
some people
right,
that keep
right.
pigeons on like the roofs of buildings in cities.
Yeah.
There's like a pigeon coop.
Yeah.
But in the World War, the sequel, we had radar. So
We also had bat bombs.
bat bombs.
Yes, as in it was a planned
bat
weapon
bombs.
to attack Japan since most of their living structures are made based on wood. So basically, the plan was to train bats to carry small explosives and release a colony of them at a time with parachutes, and they'd parachute down, then it would break up, and the bats would go all over the city with these explosives on them and like go under little tiles
Right.
of houses and
They
stuff,
don't like.
right?
And then roost.
And so
Or what do bats do? They hang upside down.
They hang
I don't
upside
think that's
down.
roosting, is it?
whatever you call that.
Roosting is a nice verb.
But anyway, they'd go into these little crevices of houses with these timed explosives on their backs.
I'm super
and
sad
then
for the
they blow
bats
up.
right now.
Yeah,
Holy
it'd kill a
crap.
lot
Come
of
on.
bats.
Yeah,
but
me too.
it was a weapon that they were designing.
This was actually
and
used
No, it was not
designing.
actually
So it's like
used.
the.
It was designed. They had been training the bats. There had been test runs, but they had not deployed it in Japan.
so
I
it's
believe.
it's like the Civil War submarine, where it was just
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
a concept.
It's kind of a.
You
well, I
guys
mean,
are-
it was,
well, they made
they-
one.
They did.
Yeah, I
it
was
didn't
gonna say,
work
they
so
made
well.
No, it didn't work.
For
so
those of you that
well.
don't know, in the Civil War, there
There was
were
a
schematics for a submarine, an all-wood submarine, and you'd like
yes,
troll your way under an enemy
Uh-huh.
ship and
Mhm.
break it somehow.
somehow.
Yeah,
Somehow.
Gunpowder or
but
what
it
have
didn't
you.
work out too well for the people in it.
Ahead of their time.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They
I
were
think-
ahead of their time, and we are out of ours.
and we are out of
Yes.
ours. Wow, look at that segue.
It's a good
Yes,
transition.
2 stars.
Two
that was
stars. Oh
pretty good.
man, 12 Tau points. Nice.
Wow.
I'll put them in the bank.
And with that, thanks for joining us today. You've been listening to What's on the Fourth Floor. I think I've got an idea for what's on the fourth floor.
Okay, tell me.
Okay.
I think the last of the carrier pigeons. I think there are carrier pigeons that still exist, and they are on the fourth floor, and they're being trained.
Are they? Oh, so they're being trained.
They're being
by the physics
trained by-
department.
I was imagining like
I was
old-
thinking the CIA.
old
Okay.
retired carrier pigeons.
Old
It's like a
Aw.
it's like a nursing
fourth-
home, but for
the fourth-
pigeons. And they go and they pamper them. They give them little like wing rubs and stuff.
Do they also get to drive around on golf carts?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
free meals throughout the day.
So we're downsizing.
yeah, it's Hello? If you're still here, it's because you're looking for more. If that's the case, check us out on Facebook at What's on the Fourth Floor and Twitter at OnFloor4. Again, that's Facebook, What's on the Fourth Floor, Twitter at OnFloor4. That's at OnFloor, the number 4.